Alex stood in the doorway of his new dorm room with a bag hanging heavy on his shoulder. It was his first day at the Interstellar University, a place where humans and aliens studied side by side. The campus had been built as a symbol of peace between species, and Alex had been proud to be accepted. But the moment he looked inside the small room, pride gave way to confusion. There was only one bed. He blinked twice, then stepped inside, half expecting a hidden couch to slide out of the wall or another door to open with a second mattress. But no, there was just one narrow bed pushed against the wall, a desk beside it, and a closet. For 2 students, it was far too little. Then he saw her. She was already inside. Standing quietly near the window, her tall frame outlined by the golden light of evening. She was not human. Anyone could see that at once. Her skin shimmered faintly as though covered in silver dust that caught every ray of light. Her eyes were wide and bright, reflecting like water under the moon. She turned when she noticed him, and Alex's breath caught in his throat. "Hello," she said softly. Her voice carried a strange echo, gentle but layered. As if 2 tones spoke together, Alex shifted awkwardly, clutching his bag. Hi, I guess. You're my roommate?" She nodded once, her movements graceful, almost too smooth. "Yes, I am Lyra of Thaler." Alex had read about the Lorians in the student handbook. Ocean world dwellers, known for their calm nature, their group living habits, and their way of speaking in songs instead of harsh words. But reading about them and standing face to face with one were 2 very different things. "Right," he said, trying to sound casual. "I'm Alex, from Earth." For a moment, silence stretched between them. Alex's eyes darted once more to the bed, then back to her. Maybe it was temporary. Maybe the housing office had made a mistake. Surely, they wouldn't expect strangers to different species to share something so personal. But as Alex lowered his bag onto the desk, Lyra tilted her head slightly as if reading his thoughts. Her eyes flicked toward the bed. "Where do you rest?" she asked. Alex frowned. There. On the bed," he pointed, confused. "Where do you rest?" "There is no other bed," she replied simply. The words landed heavily, and Alex felt his chest tighten. He had expected a roommate, yes. He had prepared for the challenge of living with someone new, someone from another world. But sharing a bed? That was far beyond what he imagined, you mean? He swallowed. "We're supposed to share it." Lyra blinked, calm as ever. "On my planet, sharing a bed is common. Families, friends, even travelers. To sleep apart is strange. It feels lonely. It feels unsafe." Her words were matter-of-fact, not embarrassed, not shy. To her it was natural, but to Alex, his face flushed. He had never even shared a bed with a girl back on Earth. The closest thing was sleeping beside his little brother when they were kids, and even that felt completely different from this situation. He rubbed the back of his neck. Humans don't usually do that, at least not with strangers. Lyra's expression didn't change much, but her eyes shimmered in a way he couldn't quite explain. "Then," she asked softly, "will I be a stranger forever?" The question struck him harder than he expected. He opened his mouth, but no words came. He thought about how lonely he had felt since leaving home, about how empty the dorm hallways had seemed when he carried his bags alone. He thought about the weight of being the only one from his small town on this campus, surrounded by hundreds of species he barely understood. Her question wasn't just about a bed. It was about belonging. Alex sighed, finally dropping his bag fully onto the floor. He looked at her again, her calm face, her glowing skin, her strange but peaceful presence. "I don't know about forever," he admitted, his voice low. "But maybe not always." For the first time, Lyra smiled, a small, gentle curve of her lips, almost unnoticeable, but warm enough to ease the tightness in his chest. She nodded slightly, as if she understood more than he said. That night would not be easy. The thought of lying down beside her filled Alex with nervous energy, questions, and doubts. But deep down, he knew something had begun. Something unfamiliar. Something fragile, but maybe something important, and though he didn't realize it yet. That single bed was about to change the way he thought of trust, loneliness, and what it truly meant to be human. Alex spent the whole evening trying to convince himself that the single bed situation would somehow fix itself. Maybe the housing office had made a mistake. Maybe by tomorrow, someone would roll in another mattress. He told himself not to overthink it. But when night finally came, he found himself staring at the narrow bed, as if it were a battlefield. He changed into his sleep clothes quietly, hoping Lyra would say something, maybe admit she was joking earlier, or reveal some hidden bed he had missed. But she didn't. She moved with quiet grace, folding her clothes neatly, placing a small crystal-like object on the desk, and then standing by the bed as though waiting for him. "You first," she said softly. Alex hesitated. "Me. First." She nodded. "It is polite." Awkwardly, he climbed onto the bed and slid toward the wall. His shoulders pressed against the cold paint, and he tried to make himself as small as possible. The mattress creaked slightly under his weight. Then Lyra lay down beside him. She did it without hesitation, without shame, as though this was the most natural thing in the world. She curled slightly onto her side, her glowing skin faintly illuminating the dark room like moonlight through curtains. Alex held his breath. He had never been this close to someone so alien. He could feel the gentle warmth radiating from her, not exactly like a human's body heat, but something softer, steadier. Her breathing was strange, to each exhale carrying a faint hum, like a lullaby played on distant strings. After a long silence, Alex whispered, "So, you really do this back on your planet? Everyone sleeps like this?" "Yes," she replied, her voice low and even. "On Thalor, we share sleep. Family, friends, travelers. To rest beside another is safety. Our people say, in sleep we return to the sea. No one should swim alone." The words sank into Alex slowly. He pictured her world, an endless ocean where her people drifted together, their glowing bodies keeping each other warm, their voices filling the dark waters. To her, this wasn't strange, it was survival. He shifted uncomfortably, still keeping a careful distance between them. On Earth, it's not like that. People usually sleep alone. Unless they're married or, close, she asked, tilting her head slightly on the pillow. Alex's ears burned. "Like couples. People who love each other, I see." Her voice was thoughtful, not embarrassed. "Then for humans to share a bed is not safety. It is love." The word hung in the air. Alex swallowed. "Yeah, something like that." Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she asked a question that cut deeper than he expected. "Does that mean you have no safety, unless someone loves you?" Alex turned his face toward the ceiling, staring at the cracks in the plaster. He didn't have an answer. Maybe that was the truth. Maybe humans were lonelier than they admitted. "I don't know," he finally said. "I guess we just get used to it." Her glowing eyes studied him for a long moment. Then, in that same calm tone, she asked, "Do you want to be used to it?" The question sank into him like a stone. For weeks, since leaving home, he had been pretending he was fine, pretending he didn't miss his family, his mother's hugs, his father's advice, the noisy comfort of his little brother. He had told himself this new world was exciting, but at night, the silence of his empty space had been heavy. Now here was someone, an alien no less, asking if he truly wanted to live like that forever. Alex exhaled slowly. "No," he admitted, his voice low. "Not really." Something in Lyra's expression softened, though it was subtle. She reached out, not to touch him, but to rest her hand gently on the blanket between them. It wasn't closeness in the human sense. It wasn't love. But it was something, a small bridge across the gap of loneliness. "You do not have to be," she whispered. "Not here." Alex stared at her hand for a long moment, then finally let himself breathe. That night, he didn't sleep easily. Every time he closed his eyes, his thoughts ran wild about home, about this strange custom, about what it meant to let someone so different into such a personal space. But when sleep finally claimed him, it was deeper than it had been in weeks. No tossing, no turning, no restless dreams. And in the morning, when he woke, he realized something surprising. He hadn't felt afraid. Not once. When Lyra's eyes opened, shimmering in the new light, she said quietly, "See? Safer together." For the first time, Alex believed her. Alex had never thought that sleep could feel like a battlefield. The moment the lights were turned off and the room was swallowed in darkness, every nerve in his body went on high alert. He lay stiffly against the wall, afraid to move an inch, aware of every breath he took. Beside him, Lyra lay perfectly calm. Her breathing was slow and steady, carrying that strange hum again like a soft vibration in the air. A distant melody that was hard to place, but impossible to ignore. It was alien and yet soothing, like a lullaby from another world. Alex tried to ignore it. He told himself to close his eyes and just sleep, but his mind refused. It ran in circles, replaying her words over and over. On my planet, sharing a bed is common. Common for her. It's alien for him. He had shared space. With friends before sharing a couch, camping on the floor, or even squeezing into the same sleeping bag during childhood adventures. But this, sharing one narrow bed with someone not even human, someone he had only just met, it was overwhelming. He turned slightly, careful not to disturb her, and peeked at her form in the dim light. Her skin glowed faintly like silver dust caught under moonlight. Her hair spread across the pillow like strands of water. She didn't look tense or awkward. She looked at peace, and that, more than anything, unsettled him. "Do you not rest?" Her voice came suddenly in the dark, soft but clear. Alex flinched. I'm trying." She tilted her head slightly, her luminous eyes half open now. "Your heart says otherwise." Lex blinked. "What?" "I can hear it," she said simply, as though it were obvious. "It beats loud. Too fast. Like fear." Alex's face grew hot. "It's not fear. It's just strange for me, okay? Humans aren't used to this." There was silence for a moment. Then Lyra said something that caught him off guard. "You were brave." He frowned. "Brave? How?" "You did not push me away," she explained. "You did not ask me to leave the room. Even though you were afraid, you let me stay. That is bravery." Her words settled on him like a blanket, soft and heavy at the same time. He didn't feel brave. He felt awkward, restless, trapped in a situation too big for him. But the way she said it calm, honest, it was hard not to believe her. Slowly, his body relaxed against the mattress. The tension in his shoulders eased a little. Maybe she was right. Maybe he wasn't completely helpless. Minutes passed. The hum of her breathing grew steady again, a rhythm that somehow soothed his thoughts. Against his will, Alex's eyelids grew heavy, and when he finally drifted off, the sleep came deeper than he expected. For weeks, since leaving home, he had struggled with restless nights. His mind always filled with worries about studies, about the future, about being alone in a place so far from Earth. But this time, the thoughts faded quickly, replaced by a strange sense of safety. When morning came, the sunlight slipped through the blinds, warming the room. Alex woke slowly, stretching his arms before realizing he wasn't alone. Lyra was still beside him. Her eyes closed, her form glowing faintly even in the daylight. She looked peaceful, almost fragile. Though Alex knew she wasn't, he watched her for a moment, unsure what to feel. Then her eyes opened, calm and steady, as if she had known he was watching. "You slept well," she said softly. Alex blinked. "How do you know?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "You did not turn. You did not dream badly. You were quiet, peaceful." He hesitated, then admitted, "Yeah, I think I slept better than I have in a long time." "See you," she said, her voice filled with quiet certainty. "Safer together." The words echoed in his chest. Safer together. Alex didn't know why, but hearing that from her made something inside him loosen. Maybe she was right. Maybe there was something humans had forgotten, something about closeness, about trust, about not always facing the night alone. For the first time since he had left Earth, Alex didn't feel like a stranger in this new world. He felt almost at home. And it all started with one strange, Narrow bed days slowly turned into weeks, and what once felt impossible began to feel normal. Sharing a bed with an alien had first filled Alex with tension, but the tension faded little by little each night. The mattress no longer felt crowded. The silence no longer felt awkward. The hum of Lyra's breathing, once strange and unsettling, became a sound Alex found himself waiting for before falling asleep. He realized something surprising. He was beginning to look forward to bedtime. Each night, when they lay down, Lyra would sometimes ask him questions about humans. At first, the questions were simple. Why do humans smile with teeth? Do humans cover themselves when they are already warm? Her curiosity made Alex laugh, and his laughter seemed to please her. But then the questions grew deeper. Why do humans dream of falling? She asked one night. Alex thought about it, staring at the ceiling. Maybe because falling is something we fear. Feels like losing control. Lyra hummed softly. On my world, no one dreams of falling. We dream of drowning instead. Her words carried an eerie kind of beauty, and Alex realized again how different their worlds were. Yet when she spoke of drowning, of the vast waters of Thaler, he could almost see it. He could almost feel the cold depths tugging at him. And then he realized that for her, as for him, dreams were simply fears wearing new shapes. Other times, the questions became personal. Why do humans close their eyes so tightly when they cry? She asked. Alex hesitated before answering. Because crying feels vulnerable. Maybe we try to hide it, even from ourselves. She turned her glowing eyes toward him, as if studying his answer, and then whispered, We do not hide tears on Thaler. We let them fall into the water, so the sea can carry them away. Her words stayed with him long after she fell asleep. It wasn't only her questions. Sometimes Alex shared his own. At evening, he asked, what was it like? Leaving your planet behind? Lyra's glow dimmed a little. Like pulling out part of your heart and leaving it far behind. I hear the ocean even now in dreams. But I cannot go back yet. I must finish here. Alex turned toward her, feeling a pang of sympathy. I miss home too. I miss my mom's hugs. I miss how my dad always gave advice, even when I didn't ask. I even miss my little brother stealing my food. For the first time, Lyra reached out and touched him, not directly, but by placing her hand gently over his chest, just above his heart. You are not alone here, she whispered. Alex felt his throat tighten. The warmth of her touch lingered even after she pulled her hand back, and so their bond grew. What had begun as discomfort was slowly turning into trust. Alex stopped worrying about what others might think when they noticed only one bed in their room. The whispers in the hallway no longer stung as much. He knew the truth, and the truth was simple. Lyra was not just a roommate anymore. She was a friend. They built small routines. Sometimes Alex would tell her human stories before bed, old fairy tales his mother once read to him. Lyra would listen quietly, her eyes shimmering, and then share stories of her own. Tales of Thalorian explorers who traveled between stars, guided only by the songs of the sea. Other nights, when silence filled the room, Alex found comfort in just knowing she was there. He didn't need to talk. He didn't need to explain. Her presence was enough. Yet beneath all of this, Alex noticed something else growing too. Something he wasn't ready to name. It was in the way he felt calmer when she was near. It was in the way his chest ached whenever she spoke of loneliness. It was in the way her glowing smile could silence the noise of the world. He didn't know what it meant, or if she felt the same. But he knew this much. He no longer wanted to imagine his life without her in it. And one night, as the hum of her breathing filled the room again, Alex whispered so quietly he wasn't sure if she heard him, safer together. Her faint smile in the dark told him she did. The bond between Alex and Lyra had grown quietly, almost naturally, but the outside world was not as understanding. In the dorm halls, whispers had started. At first, Alex ignored them. Students laughed about many things, different species, accents, customs. He thought it was harmless, but soon the whispers turned sharper. Did you hear? The human shares a bed with his alien roommate. Bet he's enjoying that. Disgusting. Doesn't he feel weird? The comments spread like wildfire. Alex could feel the eyes on him when he walked to class. Some smirked, Some looked with judgment, and some looked with curiosity that felt even worse. He tried to push it aside, but every time he returned to the dorm, the words echoed in his mind. One evening, after a long day of classes, Alex slammed the door behind him harder than he meant to. His fists were tight, his jaw clenched. Lyra looked up from her desk, where she was sketching patterns in a glowing notebook. Her expression softened as she saw his face. "You are troubled," she said gently. Alex dropped his bag on the floor. "They don't get it," he muttered. "They think..." He cut himself off, unable to say the words. Lyra tilted her head, her silver hair catching the light. "They misunderstand?" "Yes," Alex snapped, louder than he intended. They think it's something else. Something it's not." Silence filled the room. The glow on Lyra's skin dimmed slightly, as if a cloud had passed over her. "And this troubles you," she said quietly. "Of course it does." Alex shouted, then immediately regretted the harshness in his tone. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing the small room. "They laugh at me. They act like I'm weird. Like I don't belong. And maybe I don't." His voice cracked on the last words. For a long moment, Lyra didn't move. Then she asked softly, "Do you wish me gone, then?" "If I left, their voices would stop." Alex froze in place. The thought of her leaving, of walking into the room and finding her side of the desk empty? The bed suddenly too wide, too cold, hit him harder than he expected. He turned to her quickly, shaking his head. "No," he said, his voice breaking into something softer. "No, I don't want you gone." Her eyes searched his, glowing faintly in the dim room. "Even if it means they will laugh." "Yes," Alex said firmly, though his throat was tight. Because you're the only one who makes me feel like I'm not alone here. I'd rather have that than their approval." Lyra's glow brightened again, just slightly, like the light of dawn breaking through the night. She rose from her seat and stepped closer, standing only a few feet away. "On Thalor," she said softly, "we say the sea is loud, but the heart must choose which waves to listen to. If you listen to them, you will drown. If you listen to yourself, you will breathe." Her words hit Alex like a tide washing over him. He stood there, breathing heavily, trying to let them sink in. Slowly, his anger faded into exhaustion, then into something more tender. "I don't know how you always say the right thing," he muttered, half smiling despite himself. Lyra tilted her head. "Perhaps because I listen. Perhaps because your heart speaks louder than your words." Alex laughed weakly, rubbing at his face. "You're too wise for me," she gave the faintest smile. "Or perhaps humans are too hard on themselves." That night, when they lay down on the same narrow mattress, Alex didn't feel the weight of judgment pressing so heavily on his shoulders. He still heard the echoes of laughter outside, but they didn't sting as much. Not when Lyra's steady breathing filled the silence. He realized something then. The others didn't matter. They didn't understand, and maybe they never would. What mattered was the truth between them, the quiet trust that had grown night by night, question by question, word by word. As sleep pulled him under, Alex thought about her question again. "Do you wish me gone?" The answer was clear in his heart. Never. That night, after the anger and frustration of the day had faded into silence, Alex found himself unable to sleep. The whispers from the dorm halls still lingered in his ears, but louder than those voices was the memory of Lyra's question. "Do you wish me gone?" The thought of her leaving had shaken him more than anything else. It wasn't just about sharing a bed anymore. It wasn't about strange customs or about safety in the dark. It was about what she had come to mean to him. He turned on his side, facing her. Lyra lay still, her breathing calm, her eyes closed. The faint glow of her skin lit the room softly, like moonlight spilling across water. For a long time, Alex just watched her, torn between speaking and staying quiet. Finally, he whispered, "Lyra, can I ask you something?" Her eyes opened slowly, calm and unafraid. "Yes, why is this so important to you?" "Sharing a bed. Why does it matter so much?" His voice was low, almost trembling. I want to understand." Lyra was quiet for a moment, as if choosing her words carefully. When she spoke, her voice was soft, but it carried weight. like waves moving against the shore, because on my world, to share sleep is to share trust, she said. When we sleep, we are most defenseless. No masks, no strength, no walls. Only truth. To give someone your sleep is to say, I believe you will not harm me. I believe I am safe with you. Her words settled in Alex's chest like an anchor. He swallowed hard. So, when you chose to share this bed with me, you were saying you trusted me? Yes, she said simply, her glowing eyes steady. From the first night, Alex lay back against the pillow, stunned into silence. Trust. That word had always seemed so simple, but from her lips it felt heavier, more sacred. He thought about all the nights they had spent side by side, the quiet talks, the laughter, the moments of comfort. All of it was built on this one thing, trust. For a moment, guilt pricked him. He remembered how angry he had been, how he had shouted, how he had almost made her believe he wanted her gone. And yet she still trusted him. Why me? He asked suddenly. You barely knew me when we met. I was just some human. Why trust me? Her expression softened, and for the first time, she looked almost shy. Because your eyes told me you were lonely. Loneliness is something I know too well. I did not want to let you drown in it. The honesty in her words struck Alex like a wave, leaving him breathless. She had seen him when no one else had. He felt his throat tighten. I didn't realize how much I needed this, he admitted quietly. Not just the bed, you. Someone who actually understands. Lyra's glow brightened faintly, as if in response. Then perhaps we are both safer together. The room fell into silence again, but it was no longer heavy. It was warm, like a blanket wrapped around them both. Alex turned onto his side fully now, no longer pressed against the wall. He didn't touch her, but he let the distance between them shrink. He realized then that this wasn't about custom anymore. It wasn't just a habit from her world. It had become something more in sharing a bed. He had shared pieces of himself he didn't share with anyone else. The tiredness, the fears, the quiet moments before sleep. And in return, she had given him her trust, her comfort, her strange but beautiful wisdom. That night, Alex didn't resist sleep. He let it come freely, knowing that the world outside could laugh, could whisper, could misunderstand, but in here, in this small dorm room, he was safe. And just before his eyes closed, he heard her voice again, soft and certain. Do not fear their noise. Fear only a heart that closes itself. Yours is open. That is why I stay. Alex drifted off with those words echoing in his chest, and for the first time, he understood something simple but powerful. Trust wasn't just given. It was lived night after night, choice after choice, and with Lyra beside him, he had never felt stronger. The days after that conversation passed quietly. Something had changed between Alex and Lyra. The whispers in the halls didn't stop, but they didn't sting the same way anymore. He carried her words with him like a shield. Do not fear their noise. Fear only a heart that closes itself. At first he thought maybe it was just him who felt different, but he noticed changes in her too. Lyra laughed more often, even at his clumsy jokes. She sat closer during meals, her presence a steady warmth at his side. At night, when they lay in the same bed, she no longer stayed on the edge. She slept nearer, as though the invisible wall between them had finally crumbled. One evening, storms swept across the colony. Rain hammered the windows and thunder rolled through the sky like cannon fire. The power flickered, and the room grew dark, the only light coming from Lyra's faint glow. Alex found himself staring at her, the way her radiance cut through the shadows. Do you ever miss your home? He asked suddenly, his voice almost drowned by the storm. Her glowing eyes turned to him. For a long time she didn't answer. Finally, she whispered, every day, but less when I am with you. The honesty of her words left him speechless. He realized then how much she had given up. A world where her customs were normal, where she wasn't whispered about, where she wasn't strange. She had left all that behind, and yet she had chosen to stay here with him. A human who had nearly pushed her away. The storm raged on, But inside the room, it was calm. Alex reached out for the first time and placed his hand gently over hers. Her skin was cool, smooth, and alive with a faint hum of energy. She didn't pull away. Instead, her glow brightened, chasing away even more of the dark. That night, for the first time, they truly shared the same space, not just side by side, but together. He no longer pretended to need distance, and she no longer pretended to be patient. They had both chosen this closeness. And in that choice was something stronger than comfort. It was belonging. The next morning, the whispers began again in the hall. Someone laughed when Alex and Lyra stepped out of their room. Someone muttered a crude remark about humans and their pets. But Alex didn't flinch this time. He didn't lower his head. Instead, he looked at Lyra and saw the faint worry in her eyes. And before she could shrink back, he reached out and walked with her openly. Side by side, their hands brushing, their steps in rhythm. The whispers fell silent behind them. Some stared, some sneered. But Alex realized something important. It didn't matter. What mattered was the way her glow brightened just a little more when she realized he wasn't ashamed. That night, as they settled back into bed, Alex spoke softly into the dark. You know, at first I thought sharing a bed was just strange. Something I had to get used to. But now, he paused, struggling to find the right words. Now I think it saved me. You saved me. Lyra turned toward him, her glowing eyes filled with something tender, something almost like joy. Then perhaps it saved us both. There was silence for a moment, filled only with the sound of their breathing. And then Alex smiled faintly, the truth finally clear in his heart. Lyra, on my planet, sharing a bed usually means love. I think I understand now. Her glow pulsed softly like a heartbeat. She didn't speak right away, but the warmth in her eyes told him enough. She had known, perhaps from the start, what it meant for humans. She had simply waited for him to understand it himself. As sleep came, Alex realized the story was no longer about a human and his strange alien roommate. It was about two souls who had found something rare in the vast universe: trust, belonging, and love woven together in the quiet act of lying side by side, night after night. And so, the last night of doubt ended. From then on, there were no more whispers that could break them, no more storms that could shake them. For in that small room, lit by her gentle glow, they had discovered something far greater than custom. They had discovered each other.